Hello, everybody, and welcome to, well, Campaign 0 of Mekton Zeta. This is a solo campaign where I'm going to basically we're going to be diving into a bit more of the world, a bit deeper in the universe that I'm creating regarding, with the game, Mekton Zeta. And if you guys don't know Mekton Zeta, you guys can go look it up. I do actually have a photo that I will be posting of Mekton Zeta right here. So you guys can actually look at it. And it's also written by Mike Pondsmith, published by El Tarsarian Games. They are the same company that does Cyberpunk. So you guys, Cyberpunk 2020 and Cyberpunk Red. And they are, once again, same company. For the reason of why we got Cyberpunk 2077. So please enjoy. It is an anime role-playing game. I will be playing many characters during this. I have actually got a list of characters, so that way I don't do that. So you guys will hear me talk to myself a lot, make fun of me all you want. I could care less. The reason why, before we go, there will be a bit of a disclaimer. The reason why we're doing a solo play is for me to be introduced into the system a bit more. We are using Theater of the Mind. So that means there will be no maps. There will probably be maps later on. It's just right now. Oh, I do have a blank sheet of paper. And I actually do have a fine tip marker where I'll be able to maybe draw something out and use my camera when we get to it. But right now, this is going to be starting off with a lot of scenes. Um, every great anime pilot doesn't show you all the best things that they have in store, so neither will we. All right. Real quick, let me check one message here that is insanely. Oh Lord. All right. All right. Here we go. So, I hope you guys like the intro. I did work on that. All right, a couple things before we go on. Welcome to Campaign 0, the Mekton Wars. This is taking place before the actual real streams are going to be happening. I will be having Campaign 1 and 2 later on this year or at the beginning of next year. Also, at the very end of the stream, there is a link for tips. I am accepting tips to help my channel grow a bit more. That way I can put it right back into the channel. This is a very expensive hobby, so yeah. I will be also posting character sheets and stuff that you guys will be able to actually take a look at. And, you know, just a couple of visuals. One visual I will do is, let's see here. Do I have a visual of my character? I do. This is him right here. Trenton Jenkins. This is the main role that I will be playing. I will be playing all roles, but this is the main role that I will be playing right away on it. Let me see if I can at least emphasize on his character stats a little bit more. Doesn't his gear? He is okay. So there is a description on his gear besides his name and stuff like that. But we won't be emphasizing too much on that. So over here, he does have a couple things. He has a tech scanner, a tech toolkit, and a scientist uniform, which we'll explain a little bit about his looks a little bit later. But meanwhile, I just want to focus on his stats right here. Give you guys a little bit about what he is. Okay, so going to give you a bit of a background. And I got to pull up one more thing. And then we'll start, I swear. Where is it? So this is an actual solo play. So just to warn you guys ahead of time. So this system is it is the interlock system or the fusion system, whatever one you want to call it by, because I think they changed it a little bit, changed the name on it. So, and I have my Mekton character sheets, or not character sheets, what do you call them? GM sheets right here. So that way I know how things are going to go. We are even going to show you guys some Mektons. We're going to talk about them a little bit in character, so enjoy that. I'm just waiting on my file to boot up so we can begin the stream, and I speak accurately, very carefully. So to give you guys a little bit of rundown on... Alright, so... Alright, here we go. Alright, I gotta get into character now. Whoop-de-doo. Well, narrator's voice. Alright. This is Mekton Zeta, Campaign 0, the Mekton Wars. The current year is the year 2077. War has been rampant on Earth ever since the 2020s. Earth population exceeded over 20 billion people. Overpopulation was, of course, imminent. 5 years as people were growing, countries were becoming overwhelmed with numbers, uncontrollable numbers. World War III began. The nuclear war. The war that was said to end all life on Earth. During the war of 2025, Canada declared independence from the United States government. They didn't want any more help or assistance. They formed their own militia and invaded Alaska. This was done before the end of the second quarter of the year. The U.S. surrendered Alaska as one state was not to be defended above all else. The one does not go above the many. The war lasted for about 5 years, as nuclear bombs, much of missiles, and war, just lots and lots of war and death. 5 years later, about 2030, World War III ended. Only 9 billion people remain... Nope, I was wrong about that. 9 billion people were killed during the war. However, it did not stop overpopulation being the problem. It irradiated most of the planet and made life very hard for the remaining people on it. Many years have passed. The world became a disease-polluted wasteland, as various new diseases, bacteria, and parts of the earth were completely uninhabitable. Michigan began to become a rising threat and was on the verge of being declared an independent state, as they were able to defend themselves perfectly during the war. During the 20 years, they decided that they did not need anyone else's help. However, a hidden force known as the United Empire decided to take a swift strike and wipe them out. Nobody knows what the United Empire is, as they have not declared themselves a threat or even in existence. Many people believe that it is just a conspiracy theory. However, whoever launched the nuclear missile at Michigan made most of that a uninhabitable, polluted wasteland, heavily irradiated, and it will not be habitable for at least some time. Many years have gone by, but one man decided to was born out of the ashes. His name was Trenton Jenkins, and he had a vision of trying to save the world and all of humanity. He began pulling in scientists, other people with his knowledge and intellect, as well as that were very smart, and was trying to find ways to repair the world from the vastly irradiated areas. These scientists have devised a plan. They ended up creating machines that were able to help rebuild the planet. They were called Mektons. To help cut the costs, they did create another set of machines known as roadstrikers, which was developed by one of his co-workers. The boy had massive dreams and a vision only at the age of 16. He rivaled most of the smartest scientists that were currently on the planet at this time. Within several years, his plans became great works. Construction of the first Mekton began, roadstrikers, and it looked like rebuilding the world was possible. However, the creation of such machines did not come free. It came at a huge price. Others decided to use his plans, and they stole his plans and spread it throughout other companies, corporations, and other forces of the planet. Mektons were developed by many different places and peoples, corporations, and businesses. They were heavily armed. By 2073, World War IV began, known as the Mekton Wars. Trenton had a dream, and his dream was destroyed. He had another scientist, one that cracked the code for faster than light travel, but not very sure how viable it is. But Trenton has begun working with his fellow scientists and co-workers and his partners to create a better humanity, to rebuild the human race. But unfortunately, he has given up his dream on saving the planet. By 2077, the 4th year of the Mekton Wars, Trenton spread his ideology of peace and prosperity and created a new system of government, which was known the Terran Republic, which engulfed most of the United States, or the remaining structures of the United States. With the plans of the Mektons, he created a new project called Project Jaeger, one to help end the Mekton Wars. But he doesn't stop there. He creates new plans all the time. And he definitely needs a new plan now, as the Canadian-Alaskan faction has decided that they are going to invade Maine. Our story begins inside of a meeting with a man named General Roger Light and his fellow comrades. They sit in the war room and they see satellite images of Mektons making their way to Maine, at least the tip of Maine, sort of like a space between Maine and Canada. General, if we do not act now, hang on one second, I can't see that. Ah, Lord. Okay, we're gonna go down. All right, back to where it is. Sorry, just had to address we're going to address the Witch King. He's currently in chat. Hello, Witch King. Thank you for joining me. Anyway, we're back to the war room. General, if we do not act now, they're going to actually take that area, and that area could be vital to us. Most of Maine is just a wilderness. What else could we use it for? I mean, yes, there is a few places, and we do got a couple bases there, but I mean, is it really worth defending? Another person stands up as the other two are arguing, and he says, enough. Okay? We're all here. We're all on the same side. General, what is the plan? Well, I'm going to address my my main aide here, or advisor. His name is Dr. Jenkins. He's the creator of these Mektons. He may know a way around them, especially with this attack force that's here. Do we know anything about these Mektons? Yes, sir, we do. He pulls up. They are registered as MTC-01 Yukon and MTC-02 Vigilantes. These models are very heavily armed. One is heavily armed with just what looks to be axes and melee type weaponry for close combat, while the other one is definitely for long range. We're willing to bet because the Vigilante is built a lot more sturdier and very heavily armored that the lead of the attack force will be actually piloting that one, and is possibly a better pilot than the other ones. So, we need an attack strategy. How many are we looking at? We're looking at 10. 9 Yukons and 1 Vigilante. That's going to be kind of hard. I heard they had some of the best pilots for these Mektons. Yes, and we are still in the middle of our boot camp training with our current recruits. And what are the test results? Well, in simulation, sir, we have capable squads. Capable squads, the general said. Capable. Like they're capable in simulation. Yes, General Light, that is correct. Very few have seen combat. But these are all we have accessible to us right now. Alright, well, I'm going to consult this with Dr. Jenkins, and as soon as I come up with a plan, we'll add it to the battle strategy. How long do we have? They'll be within Maine and invading it inside the week, sir. So we need to act quickly. It'll take us only a few hours to mobilize, and we can set up a Shatter Dome right inside the Maine wilderness, right here. And on the map shows a clearing area with what looks to be a pre-existing structure. Very good. How many Mektons can fit in that Shatter Dome? We could fit on upwards of 10 to 20. But that's the end of the attack force. 20 if we have to push it, but we can also put other things in there, such as ATVs, tanks, anything else that we could probably use against the Mektons that will help our Mektons against them. Because the only models that we still have is the MT-0 Mech 0, which is useless. It was just from what I can see, it was just a template. And then the MT-1 Battle Ready Mekton, which doesn't carry much for defense, but it does got a good offensive capabilities. But with these both of these seem to be heavily armored and might be able to withstand both those types of mechs. What we do need, sir, is Project Jaeger. I heard that Dr. Jenkins is working on a new Mekton. Well, that's the way I look at it. I will consult with him. Meanwhile, this war meeting is adjourned. The general leaves his current staff of 5 or 6 people and consults Dr. Jenkins, who is in his lab, going over a set of new plans. Not only was he going over a set of new plans, he was actually currently also going over schematics and testing of Project Jaeger. General Light, said Jenkins as he was taking a drink of what happens to be a soda. I don't know what to call a soda. We're not calling it Coca-Cola or Pepsi, so call it good. We're going to call it, we're going to just call it soda. Dr. Jenkins, we need to know if we can mobilize Project Jaeger anytime soon. Well, actually, probably. I heard that we've got the Alaskan Canadian forces, or however you want to say that. The faction is actually trying to invade Maine as we speak. Yes, the world is at war once again. My Mektons were not designed for this. They were designed to repair the world. I can see that they were heavily weaponized by other factions. And I do not appreciate this. Look, Trenton, I'm going to be honest with you. We've heard your opinions, but nobody cares. Okay? Your machines were weaponized. Now we're asking you to do the same thing so we can defend our country. The United States of America, or what's left of it, some of the places don't even exist anymore. And we're no longer united. Are we? Well, I mean, what is that supposed to mean? Well, come on, General. Let's be honest. Years ago, nearly 20 years ago, someone decided to wipe out one of the states. there was treasonous things comparative to, you know, according to sources of the government. I'm like, yeah, well, this is why I created the Terran Republic. Because it's time for a new type. A new type of government. And the ones that can actually run the Mektons. And not be power-hungried. That's my ideology. Trenton, nobody cares. Okay? It's World War IV. What do you expect? You know, I remember hearing stories back before 2050s. You know, we were looking at World War III as being the end of the war. It was early 2020, 2020s, 2010s even. People thought World War III would have ended the world, but it didn't. So here we are, World War IV. Is there going to be a 5? God, I hope not. I hope this actually ends it completely. We've lost valuable men, even in machines like this. Project Jaeger is good for testing. If you need it for battle, I will let you use it under one condition. General Light sits back, you know, puts his hands behind his back and says, I'm listening. I'm going to be the one that pilot Project Jaeger. Not some pilot, not some soldier, not just anybody. Me. I test piloted the Mech Zero back when I created it, and I've test piloted the MT1 Battle Ready Mekton. So I'm gonna pilot Jaeger. That's preposterous. You are gonna pilot the Jaeger project? Yes. What's wrong with that? It's like, Dr. Jenkins, we have soldiers for this. If we lose you, we may very well lose the war. Is that such a bad thing? If you lose me, you're going to lose the war? Do you think if you lose me, you'll lose the war? Do you really feel that way? Well, yeah. Your plans are already out there. Other people are redesigning your Mektons, making them their own. If we lose you, we may very well lose this war. Hell, I think if you lose me, General, we'll all lose. Every single one of us. I'm the guy who created this whole vision. Look what they've done with it. They're destroying the world even more. At least what's left of it. How much longer do you think the Earth is going to be able to take this before this whole planet is uninhabitable? How much longer do you think, General? 50 years? 100 years? 200 years? 1,000? Do you think we're going to make 1,000 more years of generations on this godforsaken rock? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. That's your department. Yeah. My department. Well, let me tell you something, General. With the heavy radiation, the heavy pollution in other areas, the constant overpopulation, mind you, we're still growing. No, we're not going to make it 1,000 years. We may not make it 100 years. I don't know how long we'll make it. If there is a god or such thing as a deity, maybe they will intervene. But in the meantime, I am going to pilot Project Jaeger in the battle, and I lead the forces. You are not a combat specialist. I know that, General. I know that. But I need to test Jaeger's full capabilities. Jaeger is the fastest mech I ever created, and I need to know if it completely works. What are we looking at for Project Jaeger? How fast can it move? Well, if everything stands out correctly, and if my calculations are correct, which they usually are, Jaeger is going to be known as MT-001. It's a light mech. It won't stand up much against any attacks. What? You made a light armored mech? We're going up against heavies here. Do you think it's going to do much damage? I might have souped up the guess system a little bit. You talking about the... Well, let's put it to you this way. It's lightly armored and can move at speeds of around 60 miles an hour. However, with the system that I installed with what you call the, and I gotta get the exact name here. With the guest system, the ground effect systems that I developed, it'll be able to reach 90 plus miles an hour, which is also the fastest Mekton that's ever been developed. Speed, we may need strength, but we're gonna definitely need speed to at the very least, to be able to dodge attacks. So this thing wouldn't need a lot of armor to protect it if it can just dodge every single attack. And the Mekton maneuverability system is actually best developed that I have so far, according to our battle schematics of the Mektons that are actually going to invade Maine. We're talking the MTC-01 Yukon and MTC-02 Vigilante. Those are heavily armored, very hard to pilot. This one wouldn't be so hard. That's why I want to pilot it. Let me run it past my team, okay? I'm not the only one to make decisions here. General, I appreciate everything you do. And I'm a scientist, and I don't believe in going off of on just pure faith. But trust me when I say that I think this might be our best bet. We shall see. We shall see. We have to make decisions inside of a week. I will have a meeting at 0600 in the morning. I understand, General. As the General departed, Trenton sat back and decided that he was done for the day. He decided to pack up his things and he left his room. Each lab room that goes from place to place is like a submarine bulkhead. As he got home, he is greeted by his partner and current lover, Tessa Cormack. Hello, dear. How was work today? Well, Project Jaeger looks like we're going to get ready to launch it. If everything works out, I'll be the one piloting it. Suddenly, she stops cooking. Trenton. Tessa, we are not having this conversation again. I am piloting Project Jaeger. And not you or the general is going to stop me. I already told the general my plan, and I told him of my terms if we launch launch Project Jaeger. And what makes you think you're going to do that? You're not a soldier, and I know you still blame yourself. That's enough. I said I don't want to talk about it. I'm piloting the Mekton, and that's the way it's going to be. And as far as blaming myself, nothing will change what I've done. I've created the worst monstrosities in the entire world. They were designed to fix the planet, to save people, to help us build a better future. And the best future we built for ourselves is war. Terrible, undeniable war. So that's it. The conversation's over with. Tessa finished cooking her meal for her and Trenton, and they sat down and they began eating it. Meanwhile, while they were sitting there eating, Trenton has decided to go through some of his data pads, and which in this during this time of 2077. Oh no, not 2077. What is it? What did I say? 20. Oh, it is 2077. That's right. They have small micro tablets that are kind of like, imagine like the data pads from Star Trek. Very touch screen, very easy to store away. Tessa began swallowing her food and taking her time as she's trying to bring up some news to Trenton. So, I wanted to let you know that this month I was late again. Trenton stopped for a minute and began putting down his pad, and nothing. I saw the doctor in the infirmary, and she gave me a test, and it turns out I'm not pregnant. It turns out that all the scientific trips you've taken and I've taken, well, Trenton, let's just say I've got damage done. Unreparable damage. It can't be fixed. Potential maybe overdosage of radiation from some of the areas we visited. Collecting samples. Could be a number of things. Maybe living in this rock. The place that they were staying at, it was a base inside of a mountain. Heavily armored, heavily concealed. As they were constructing their projects. Well, you know, I just don't think I could be a dad in a world like this. So I'm going to bed. Trenton did not finish his meal. He went and laid down immediately, and he closed his eyes. He could smell fresh flowers on a nice summer day. And next to him, he hears a voice. A voice that's not Tessa's or anybody else that he's heard in a long, long time. And the voice is a female voice that goes, "You can't blame yourself forever. And I told you, no matter what, it would never be your fault." And he wakes up in the middle of the night, exactly 2 o'clock in the morning. Tessa's next to him, sleeping soundly, and he gets up and begins work once more, checking over his final checks of Project Jaeger. He begins pondering if he never came up with the idea, if he never existed, if things would be different. But that's the hardest part, right? Time travel. He begins going back to work. Meanwhile, 0600, the general, along with his staff, begin going over the plans. So, is Project Jaeger up and operational, General? I spoke with Trenton Jenkins. He did have a request that he's the one that pilots Project Jaeger. What? He's not a soldier, and we don't even know how well his piloting skills are. I know. He contested that he will not launch Project Jaeger without him piloting it. General, with all due respect, this is wartime. He does not have any room to make demands. He may be the creator of these machines, but look at what his creations have created. More war. If he does not give you Project Jaeger, we can seize it, and if he tries anything else, it'll be treason. And we can, it'll be high treason, and we can execute him and Tessa and his staff if they so far go against us. General leans in and folds his hands, and he's like, "Is that what we come to? This barbarism of executions? We execute our main man who has created these said machines? Yes, he might have created them. He might be the reason why other people have created them. But he is the only... Give me 1 second, everybody. We're going to hit pause on here because we got people coming downstairs. All right, and we have returned. All right, so we were in the middle of the discussion in the war room. So the general once again leans forward, folded his hands, and goes, have we gone so far into this war to result to this barbarism, executions, seizing control? It's because of that man, and yes, it might have been his creations why we're in this war, but it's his creations that are helping us fight the war. Without him, I'm not sure how far we'll be able to go. Nonsense, General. We have plenty of people that is smart. Any on his level? Do you guys know that for a fact? Do you know how smart he really is? Do you think we'd survive long without him? Would any of you be willing to take that risk? What is the odds? We sit in here, we plan, make battle plans, weigh the odds all day long. What are the odds? One of his staff members raises their hands and go, well, sir, I'm willing to bet at the very least 50-50. 50%. 50%. You guys will stake our freedom and our survival of this war on 50%. Well, I'm sorry, guys. That's a bit too heavy for me. 50%. That means they could go left instead of right. Or whatever direction we want to go in, it could go opposite. And you're willing to seize control of Project Jaeger, and execute a man and his staff that is helping us save the world on 50%. Can you guarantee 65%? Any of you? $75, $70, $65, $60, $55. No, 50%. That's the odds that we weighed. Without him, it's 50-50. Well, on that level, gentlemen, I'm not going to take your advice. I don't know what is going to happen, but I think the best person I have to look and advise is Dr. Jenkins himself. So he wants to pilot Project Jaeger. Then he pilots Project Jaeger and he leads the battle. General, that is absurd. He's not a soldier. What does he know about combat? Obviously more than you. He's willing to pilot it into combat and not be a coward, while you guys want to take and seize what he has. And what if we can't rebuild? What if people rally against us? All the scientists. Can we mimic any of the Mektons he designs? Can we guarantee that we be better at it? Any of us. These things are an awesome creation, and you guys have come up with the odds, and you say 50% chance of survival. I want 65. Can you guarantee that? No. My God, you can't. 55? 51%. How about that? Well, honestly, 51. Shut up. That was rhetorical. Very rhetorical. 51%. That's practical luck. And I'm not staking our survival on luck. You know what? You guys helped me make a decision today. All right. We're going to send 5 Mech Zeros, piloted by some of our newbies. I want 4 leaders appointed for the battle-ready Mektons, and Project Jaeger will be piloted and led, and will lead the charge by Trenton Jenkins. And since you guys are so hopped up on seizing control and whatnot, this war meeting is totally adjourned, and I don't care for any of your opinions for 50%. If you have an opinion that's worth 65% or higher survival, talk to me. But if you can't even try to guarantee that, then we have nothing else to speak here, gentlemen, and you're all dismissed. One of his staff members leaned in. I said you're dismissed. That doesn't mean lean in on your chair. That means get out. Do you understand what get out means? Did your parents never teach you that? Get the hell out of my war room. Now. All his staff members have left as the meeting was clearly adjourned. God help us. I hope I am not to stake our survival on a whole lot less. He picks up the phone and dials in a number on it, and a phone in Trenton's lab rings. Hello, General. How can I help you? Trenton, you have yourself a deal. You're a pilot, Project Jaeger. You will lead the assault and the defense force on with Maine. You'll be transported to a Shatter Dome. Is there anyone you want to take with you? Yes, sir. I have my team right here. Benjamin Ashton, Kelly Clayton, Anna Day, and of course my partner, Tessa Cormick. I will transport you, and you'll be transported with personnel that will actually be there for you. And I will let them know that you're in charge. Thank you, sir. And Jenkins, with all due respect, I hope you come back alive. Please come back alive. We still need you, son. I don't know if you can pilot this Mekton better than anyone else, but I hope you can. I really do. Thank you, sir. In general, I will do my best, but this is war. Any of us could be casualties. Totally agree. They hang up the phone, and the general begins going to his personal quarters. As he enters his personal quarters, he sits alone, pondering the thought if he did the right thing. But he does know one thing. He did at least he made a decision on something higher than 50%. That's what he feels. Than 50% survival if he was to take the advice of his staff. All right, we're going to take a minute, and I'm going to address some of the chat because we are going to shift gears. And by shifting gears is what I mean is we're going to cut to another scene, and we're going to go to the group is actually at this point. This is where all the characters will get up, and they are going to begin loading and stuff like that, and head over to the Shatter Dome in Maine. I'm going to get something to drink, and we'll be right back in just about, we're going to say 2 minutes. Oh, sorry for taking so long to get back. I was sorry for getting back. I was doing a lot of posting in my chat, as well as you know, as well as trying to keep up with the chat as well. But got into a lot of explaining here. We got Jack McCarthy joining the chat as well as the Witch King. Hail to you, brother. Yeah, no, anything that's posted in there, Jack, that's just just something I'm just throwing out there. Don't worry about that. You know, for any new people too. Just trying to help my channel grow. All right. Anyway, let's get back to what we were doing. All right. So within less than 12 hours, everybody was getting ready and packing quickly and boarding I forgot what they call them. They're an aircraft. It's an aircraft, but they were boarding also aircrafts that were able to take Mektons, as they're getting ready to go to a structure known as the Shatter Dome. The Shatter Dome. This Shatter Dome is in Maine. So as they were loading everything up, Trenton was going through checks, making sure that everything was getting through, and within 12 hours, they took off. They landed. As they begin to descend, Trenton didn't really pay much of attention to his partner, Tessa, or anyone else as they were going over checks and balances. Oh, the mech carriers are... They're probably called Pelicans. Yes, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I'll hang on a second. I gotta write this now because Witch King brought something up. There we go. So as the aircraft carriers begin to descend, Trenton was actually going over his final checks as they were getting ready, because once they descended, they had to quickly... Oh boy, yeah, I have that was me in character. So you were heavily. Sorry, we had a lot of people just coming in now, guys. All right, anyway, let me continue this. We probably won't get to much battles today because everyone is like really immersed into the stream. All right, so as the aircraft carrier begins to descend, Trenton was going over, and his team was going over the final checks and balances as they had to quickly unload all of their luggage as well as the Mektons. At this point, it is 5 days. They have less than 5 days to actually get battle ready and to actually meet at a rendezvous point where they're going to hold off and stave off the Canadian-Alaskan faction. Tessa and Trenton didn't really say anything for nearly 18 hours. As they were in their quarters unpacking, Tessa was just beginning to tear up. And she goes, "Are you sure that you are capable of piloting this, Trenton?" "Tessa, we are not going to go over this again. I'm piloting Jaeger. That's all there is to it. It is the fastest mech. Yes, it's not heavily armed or armored, but it is the fastest mech, and we're hoping that maybe speed will play into this. If I'm wrong, there is an ejection system, and hopefully it'll work and I don't die, but you know how these things are, and it's not been tested." According to the strategic team that is making this, I've got 5 Mech Zeros that's going to be with us and 4 Battle Readies. So, you think you can make a better name for a Mekton other than Battle Ready Mekton? Well, I wanted to call it the Assault class, but it wasn't very assaulty. They only carry one type of weapon and hardly any shielding or armor. We're still not sure what we're doing with these. Seems like other countries and other scientists do know that, hey, let's make heavily armored Mektons and they'll be nearly unstoppable. But I've also noticed something about them. The Yukon and Vigilante models that the Canadian-Alaskan faction has actually created are very slow and very hard to pilot. So I'm hoping speed trumps in this one. Or are you hoping speed with a bit of force? I mean, how do you know that they're not so heavily armored that they won't destroy your own Mektons in the process? See, that's the crazy thing. I don't. But I do know that it'd be harder to hit Trenton began to smile at her and giving her a look of he was trying to be sarcastic and funny, but Tessa was not having it. She's like, I don't understand you, Trenton. I really don't. Ever since you lost... that's enough, Tessa. That is enough. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to leave that in the past. Okay? I'm not doing it because of that. I'm not doing it because I feel guilty about creating these machines. I'm not doing it because I feel like I feel guilty for losing a friend. I don't feel guilty about any of that. It's just, I need to stop this war because if I don't, this planet will not be habitable for much more longer. Heck, there's an entire state that's not even habitable anymore. How many states are like that in the entire world? Think about that. We have somewhere between 9 to 20 billion people in this entire world, and there are places that if you stay, it will kill you. We know this. I mean, you said it yourself. That's why you can't get pregnant. I may have damage, and I know I'm not checking myself regularly. And long-time exposure to radiation will eventually cause cancer. And yes, it will kill both of us. So you might be sterile and I might be sterile and then we might get cancer here in the next couple of years. I don't know. But see, that's the thing. That's what other people are worried about. That's what babies who are currently inside their mother wombs have to worry about. I want to build a better world. I built the Mektons to help us reshape and restructure our societies and to come together as one. That was the whole ideology of my republic. Not everyone believes in the Terran Republic way. And that is your own thing. Why do you call it that? Why can't we just be Earth? Or why can't we be another form of just... Another form of what? What do you want to say? What do you think got us here? To this war, World War IV. Who would have thought we would have seen this? Heck, back in 2020s, even before then, everyone was pretty sure World War III was it. Why do you know this is going to be it? I don't, Tess. I really don't. But I'm tired of arguing about this. Now, I'm sorry if you do not like my choices, but this is my project, and I want to make sure that it works. If I put somebody else in there and we lose them, so you do blame yourself for that accident. Trenton gets up and he slams the door as he opens the door and leaves the room. The door was kind of not easy to slam, as it's basically a 6-inch to 8-inch steel metal door that they would pretty much use on submarines, just like every other structure that has been built in recent years, where they call them Shatter Domes. Shatter Domes is where the Mektons are developed, tested, and sometimes are used and launched from these areas. Maine developed a Shatter Dome just to keep the borders, in a sense. This Shatter Dome was developed to keep the borders protected and to make sure that there would be no other wars or invasion forces. Trenton was in his lab when he eventually saw his friend Ben. You and Tessa fighting again? What do you think, Ben? I'm here working, aren't I? Look, it's none of my business, but you guys should see a counselor. Trenton kind of smirks a little bit, and he giggles, and he's like, a counselor? Where are we going to find the time in this war? Are there even counselors left? Is that even a job anymore? I thought all that existed was you're a soldier or a scientist in this day and age. Or a civilian. A civilian as an innocent bystander that gets hurt over war. What am I to do, Ben? Well, Trenton, I can't tell you that. I don't even know. We're currently developing new Mektons while other teams are working on new types of machines. Yeah, I heard another team broke the equation for faster than light travel, like warp speed, like Star Trek. I mean, do you think it's any good? I don't know. Trenton, that's beyond me. Maybe you should take a look at it. No, no, thank you. No more of my ideas, sir. You want to know why? Because that last idea I had, World War IV. Mind you, if I go look at this equation and I make it better, what's next? The solar system? 20 light years? 50 light years? 100 light years? The galaxy? The universe? I see what my ideas bring. Heck, not everyone believes in my idea of a Terran Republic, a government system built on principles and built on freedom. Nobody believes that way. Well, I do. Heck, you're my best friend. You've been my best friend since college. We never went to college. We've been best friends for years, and I never went to college. You're right. You're right. Science school. There was no such thing. There hasn't been a college since, well, since before World War III. Education's not really a thing. Most of our intelligence is developed by what we study and learn on our own. Okay, well, I tried to make light of a bad situation because, yes, the world is getting crappier and crappier every day. It is very true. It is very true. I mean, again, Tessa and I, we got into a fight because we found out she's sterile. And it could have been some of the test sites we've been to, some of the sites we were collecting samples from to figure out how we can cure radiation and get rid of it and try to heal this planet. But no luck. But yep, I built these great, awesome machines that kill people. You sound like those people from the early 2020s. Oh, don't own guns. Guns kill people. No, guns don't kill people, just like these machines don't. It's the people in them that get stupid. Speaking of which, Trenton, we got to talk. Why did I hear that you're the one leading the assault on this? I thought we were a team. What, you want in the Mekton? No, I don't want in the Mekton. I just don't know why the best of us is going into battle. I don't understand that. Like, do you have a death wish? I mean, did you even tell Kelly? Anna? Were you going to tell me? Or were we just going to find out that you were launching in Project Jaeger? You're starting to sound like Tessa. Same shit. Different story, different voice. Different person arguing with me. I want to pilot Project Jaeger. Why? Because you feel bad? You feel bad for destroying the world? You think you brought all this on? No, you didn't bring it on. Someone stole your project, leaked it to other forms of government, leaked it to other countries, and they started building on it. Because they were afraid that you were going to use it to take over the entire world, which, well, that was one idea you didn't come up with. But it was an idea that someone came up with, a madman. And more than one. You remember reading in old history books about madmen, war criminals and stuff like that? Yeah. There was a lot of them. What's your point? Well, you find it funny on how there's more? The world it may be overpopulated, yeah, but we did have a lot of war, and it's the madmen that still are alive today. It's like a disease. It's not a disease, Trenton. It's just the way humanity is. Ben pulls out a book with black binding, a black cover, and he sets it right down in front of him. He looks at it and he says, "Are you serious? You're a scientist. Why do you believe in this crap?" Really? It's crap? Well, have you read the book of Revelations? Have you even read the Bible? You may think it's crap, but we're still here. Yeah, well, if there's a God, why didn't he come down and stop all this? If he can stop everything, why isn't he doing it? Why is it that I'm doing it? God's not getting in that Mekton. I'm getting in it. 9 soldiers are getting in them. And you want me to read this? Sir, let me ask you something. If your God was so great, why does he let things happen like this? Well, obviously, you need to read the book of Genesis for that. Bit late. It's a bit late for that. If God exists, I don't know if I believe him enough to figure out if there really is a heaven and hell, but guess I'll find out. Meanwhile, get this off my desk. All right. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to think reasonably. Don't you have something to do? Like, how are the Mech Zeros? Mech Zeros are prepped and ready to launch tomorrow morning. Okay, it wasn't long to start those. Doesn't take long to start Mech Zeros. I just don't know why we're still using them. Because they're easily to mass produce. They're the cheap and effective resources that we can get, and we can make more of them. There's going to be 10 of them. I think if we can find a way to outnumber the enemy, we might be able to actually win. I think numbers over power is going to be it here. Well, I don't think so. Trenton, well, you're on. What are you talking about? Okay. All right. Well, I'm betting Project Jaeger. Oh. What's the bet? Well, the bet is if Project Jaeger fails, we go with Project Schneider next. You want to use a Mekton that is potentially slower, not 100% heavier, and not necessarily very well defensible. No, but it would probably slice through some of the armor. We don't know that. We don't know if we can even fabricate the type of metal we would need for that. Oh, good question. I'm going to answer this real quick. There's a lot of factions right now. The ones that I will post, which ones are in there, so you know which factions there are. Because right now there is 3 that is going to be playing a major part in this. At least in these first couple of sessions. The first one is the Canadian Alaskan faction, which is if you go back to the original part of my stream in the beginning, Alaska was invaded by Canada. Canada is its own thing now. They don't want protection. They want to try and become the next superpower. There is also corporations have taken over Mexico, and they are basically running that whole country. And then there's the Terran Republic, which you got the Terran Republic, which is Trenton's whole ideology of he's trying to form his own government, but everyone's kind of not on board with it. But he wants a government that stands for peace and freedom. Meanwhile, there is a hidden faction that I did reveal at the beginning of the stream that has yet to pop its head out. We don't know where this faction is. We don't know what countries that are aligned with this faction, but it's called the United Empire, and we don't know where their main headquarters are. We don't even know that they exist. As far as anyone's concerned, that is a government conspiracy theory, or that is a bedtime story you tell little kids in this area to freak them out around a campfire. So Trenton belongs to the Terran Republic, which is basically all of the United States and then whoever else they can ally themselves with. which right now isn't a lot. The whole world is at war for land because there's not a lot of land anymore, and some of the land is irradiated and unlivable. All right, cutting back to the scene. Ben get yes, the boogeyman. Cutting back to this, cutting back to the scene. Ben gets up and so what was I? What we were talking about? Oh yeah, Project Schneider. So if Jaeger fails, I want Project Schneider, and I want you to consider some of my plans. If Project Jaeger fails and I survive, I will do that. But if I don't, the project is yours. You're the next lead scientist that they're going to pick. I guarantee that, and I will. And I have emailed the General Light that I recommend you. Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. Dr. Ashton, I thank you for being my friend all these years and putting up with my bullshit. And he extends out his hand and he goes, and Ben grabs it and they shake hands. He's like, well, I'm going to not lie to you. I think the pleasure is all mine because you have created some awesome machines and you brought me on the project. We've been friends for a long time. How many years now? Since we were both 16. It's been 7 years. 7 long years. Trenton was beginning to think, out of the last 7 years, has it really been 7 years since he came up with this project? And it was 7 years that he met his friend and liked his ideas. But Trenton is never really going to tell Ben how he feels about him. All right. Well, I guess it's time to get ready. About 3 days later, 24 hours from battle. What was I? Less than 5 days? Yeah, 3 days later, about 24 hours from battle. All right, everybody. We've been, I am the battle strategist. My name is Sergeant McCarthy, and I know most of you. Dr. Jenkins, I know you're in the battle. I just hope you know what you're doing, sir. Battle is definitely different than what you probably see on screen, especially when you're in it. I know the risks, Sergeant. Why don't you go over the plan, please, so we know. All right. In less 24 hours, we are going to meet the enemy here. He pulls up a map and he shows an area that's between Maine and Canada. Now, we're going to meet the area in this location. It's got a lot of trees, a lot of cover, and so that's where we're going to meet them at. What I want is simply this. We think if we put the Mech Zeros up first, they will look like easy targets and may draw the enemy out if they do plan an ambush. But meanwhile, we're going to use the MT-1's battle-ready Mektons to actually strike them. The weapons that they are using are the 90mm machine guns, which are, yes, short range, but effective. And probably make them easy targets if we could draw them out. These Mektons are a little bit bigger, heavily armored, bulkier, harder to move. So hopefully attacking will be easy. And you won't need to, as long as they're bulkier and easier to hit, hopefully you guys can do a lot of damage as quickly as possible. Even if you can't do it quickly, you might be able to do it effectively enough to where you take out the Mektons and disable them. Either disable them, disable their movement, make the movement harder. I don't know. Take out the legs, shoot the heads, take out their sensors, whatever. We do know that the Mektons are designed after the Mech Zero, which was designed by our own truly Trenton Jenkins. Now, if the sensors, like our Mektons, do exist like we think in our intelligence reports, the sensors exist in the head. Backups are actually a subsector, which is at a smaller range. That's right. Said, yeah, that's right, said Trenton Jenkins. He's like, if they did not change. Once you take out the head, they will have no sensor use at all. If you take out the eyes, the main primary sensors will be offline, leading a small sensor unit basically in a smaller area. I think it's 300 kilometers at most. Well, no, their communication range will be 300 kilometers with each other, which we could probably take out, but they'll have less than 1 kilometer of visible motion sensor movement, which means we could probably use that to our advantage to strike from behind and do a sneak attack. That's why the battle ready mechs will be waiting in these areas here, and I will be leading the assault charge right behind the mech zeros. In case they get into trouble, I will use Project Jaeger, which is now known as Mekton Jaeger, to swoop in and see what kind of damage I can do with Mekton and how quickly I can do it in. And hopefully for everybody's escape. I don't want to lose any men on this mission, but I do know that this is war and things do happen. I feel bad for creating such machines that were used to hurt the world. And Lord knows, if there is one, I don't want this anymore. So I'm going to fight with you guys. I'm no longer going to be the guy on the sidelines. I have piloted a Mech Zero, and I've test piloted the MT1 project as well. Now I'm going to test pilot the best new Mekton that we have, Jaeger. Named after a famous pilot that actually breached, I believe, the Mach 2 barrier. I am not 100% sure about that. Most of our history books have been destroyed by war and famine. All right. Well, thank you for that presentation, Dr. Jenkins. All right, you're all dismissed. We'll be leaving here in about 2 hours. Men, if you got any loved ones here, parents, girlfriends, wives, boyfriends, anything at all, partners, say goodbye to them in case you don't come back. And we will be monitoring your vitals from here. You're all dismissed. Other soldiers have went off. Some went to see their families. Trenton was looking around, and he noticed that there was one person there, and he had both his parents there. He walked up to him. Hello, my name is Dr. Trenton Jenkins. And he shook the old man's hand, and he says, "You're the one that created these machines. I'm terribly sorry. Is this your son?" "Yes, he's 18. And he wanted to join the military to fight in the war. And he brought us with him for safety. It's getting bad out there, even as under civilian life." "Son, what's your name?" "Oh, my name's Peter." "Peter, it's nice to meet you. Are you piloting MT1 or an MT0? "MT0. I'll be on the front lines, sir." "You don't have to call me sir. I'm not part of the military." "Peter, I want you to tell me your Mekton serial number and transmit it to my Mekton. I want to make sure you and everyone else makes it out." "Is he your only son?" As he looks at the older couple. "He is. But we're proud of him all the same for trying to save the world." "Well, hopefully we all get to come home." Trenton got very distant in his mind as he's got young, people as young as 18 years old going into battle, knowing that they're probably not going to come home. He gets back to his room, and Tessa is there making her dinner. "Are you going to eat before leaving?" "I made this pie using blueberries." "Where'd you get blueberries from?" "They're artificially created and grown in the hydroponics bay of all Shatter Domes. Turns out there was some fresh stock here, so I made a artificial blueberry pie." "And what do we have for dinner?" He's like, "Well, we do have vegetarian burgers, but that's apparently what we have here, and may not be as good." Tessa, look, I know you're not happy about me piloting Project Jaeger, but this is it. We've got to stop. We got to stop this war. And you think it's going to stop by taking out one group of people? You think they're going to that faction is going to just lay down arms? No. But it'll definitely give us an edge of where their hideout is, and we might be able to take it out. And may be able to strike a fierce blow. Especially if we can take out their Mektons. Well, eat your dinner. I know you're leaving less than 2 hours. Tessa and Trenton finished their dinner. They did have a romantic cuddle session on what looks to be a futon, but it is a form of a couch with very little fabric on it. Trenton moved around a lot. Tessa could not understand why he was moving around because they've been dealing with this for many years. Tessa's like, you never told me in the years that we've been together that you loved me. Trenton's like, well, I don't think I love anybody. What I would love, though, is for this war to end. Maybe then I'll have time for love and family and everything else. She smirked and giggled a little as she says, well, too late for that. Turns out I'm sterile from all the samples. That's why I'm no longer on the science team. I thought, it would hurt the baby, but we can't have babies. Tessa, once this war ends, I promise you I will find a way to help to help humanity heal from this, but I can't do that dealing with this war and making more weapons of destruction. I want to stop this as much as you do. No, I don't want to stop this. I just want it to stop. Well, it's not going to stop any other way. The alarm begins going off. Oh, that's it. I got to get going. Trenton suits up in a pilot suit, a Mekton pilot suit, which is, think of the Fantastic Four when they had the suits for going into space. This is similar to that, only a bit more. It's got kind of like a little bit of like a frame to help protect the body in case you get jostled around inside the Mektons. As he makes it out to the main attack floor, everyone begins loading up in their Mektons. You hear people, go, go, go. All right, Mech 0, Pilot 1, 2, and 3 begin to launch. All right, yep, battle ready. We'll be following shortly after that. And everyone begins saying goodbye to their loved ones and begin loading up. And then there's Trenton coming up to Mekton Jaeger. A Mekton of a color scheme of white and blue. It's kind of hard to explain. The inner parts of the armor is white, while the jets around the ground effect system and the legs and the hands are blue. He puts his hand on the foot of the Mekton and he says, how about you take care of me and bring me home, as well as all these guys. I hope this works. He begins loading up in the pilot seat, and the Sergeant McCarthy's there going over the check system with them. All right, so you know how to load one of these? I'm like, Sergeant, I created this machine. I know how to start it up. Okay. So how fast can this go? And it can excel beyond 90 miles an hour, which is said to be the fastest Mekton so far. I hope it saves your life. Hope so too. Well, let me get down off this docking system and pull it away, and you'll be set to go. Thank you. He notices that there was a button that says "Do not touch until ready." Takes takes in a deep breath and begins turning on all systems, and the cockpit begins closing its doors as the pod begins going inside the chest cavity of the Mekton, and the Mekton fully activates. All right, we got which Mektons we got out so far? We got the MT0 Mech 0 team is out. We just deployed the MT1 battle ready Mekton team as well. All right, this is it. Mekton Jaeger. Suddenly, a voice goes over the PA. All right, guys, keep the Shatter Dome safe and keep all of our families safe until we return. Hopefully, we'll see you inside of 48 hours. After 48-hour mark, if we don't see you, we have exactly 12 hours to evacuate the Shatter Dome, sir. So hopefully we'll see you soon. Roger that, McCarthy. Keep everything safe. And then he deploys Project Jaeger. Well, now Mekton Jaeger, no longer Project, is deployed and fully operational as they approach the area of battle. Okay, so we're about an hour and a half into this, and I've already had to stop several times. Or at least, well, no, like 3 times. I hope everyone did enjoy the stream. I am going to have session 2, probably tomorrow, because I don't have anything else planned for this week. So I'll probably do another stream here. And I'm going to actually pull out my map system. I'm actually going to make some things so to help create a more visual here as well as that. All right, so this is my character right here. All the other characters, such as Sergeant McCarthy, General Roger Light, are non-players, so they don't really have much of anything. There is a supporting character list, such as Ben, Kelly, Anna, who has not appeared, but they've been mentioned, and Tessa. And then, of course, there's been basic stats for the nameless non-playing characters as well. So I do have them actually all on sticky notes. So we will actually, next session, go straight into battle. I realized there was no green bar, but that's because I was muted in Discord. Straight into battle by next session, and everything should check out for you guys. You guys should check that out. Check out for you guys. Check out for these guys. How about that? All right. Well, real quick before we wrap everything up, my name is Tabletop Junkie. I hope you guys did enjoy the show. I enjoyed, I think we had Jack McCarthy. Jack, thank you for coming in. Do appreciate you, sir. Witch King, thank you for being here, as well as Forging Valorants, which I believe is Kaylin. So, yep, thank you for doing it. Do you like to use an oracle during solo play? I like myth myself. Well, you know, I haven't really thought of that during this time, to be honest. That is a good question. Very good question. And it looks like we actually had a good turnout. Let's see here. I don't know. I didn't gain any new subs, but we did have a good turnout of people watching. So if you guys did miss the beginning of the stream, you guys can catch the rest of it on replay. See how the beginning is, because I did describe how the world is going forward. And this is Mekton Zeta. Welcome to the TJVERSE, the Tabletop Junkie verse, the universe that I created for Mekton Zeta. Campaign 0. Campaign 1 will be released shortly after I finish up this campaign, which will be probably, hopefully, a while. Real quick, to give you guys a sneak peek at a few things, I will actually add in a few Mektons here, because I have to actually add in their images for woo, no better way to field test a Mekton. Yeah, the Junkieverse. Yeah, that's what I call it. We're gonna add in a couple Mekton sheets for you guys here, so that way you guys can see how what these guys are packing. I'm gonna add in the MTC-01, which is known as the Yukon. That was actually inspired from some of my favorite. It's like, so some of these Mektons are actually designed and inspired from certain media. I believe this one was inspired from Pacific Rim, the comic book. Or a novel. I can't remember which one. But it was where Canada did develop one of the early Mektons. And of course, I'm probably going to have to expand this out a little bit more. so I can move it around. But this is a twin axe wielding Mekton, a little bit heavier. It's roughly about 63 tons, but they can only move as fast as 33 miles an hour. So there will be some things that I will actually incorporate, like the mecha combat skills. This is a pretty basic system, so and I do like how the system is. And these axes are actually inside the wrist arms, so it'll be pretty good. And I'm going to give Jack here a if you are still in the chat, you were close. You said about that these ones carry a -7 for maneuver value. It's actually -6, so -6. Actually, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Vigilante is actually carrying. Oh, hang on one second. Let me seal that off. If I'm not mistaken, the Vigilante is actually -7. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit, before I wrap up the stream, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of insight on how I developed these mechs. I developed these mechs through, like, I'm a big fan of Gundam, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Pacific Rim. Those are some of my favorite stuff I like to watch. And nope. The MTC-02 Vigilante is actually -9 and can only move at 22 miles an hour. It is definitely a much heavier metal, so they pretty much think the heavier the build, but it does pack some weapon power. It's got some Shiva class missile launchers, which some of these weapons I did develop on my own. Some of them come out of the book. And I actually have a separate spreadsheet of my own in-universe weapons and tools that each Mekton will actually use. So yeah, I actually have my own stuff. There was no dice rolling tonight. So what I'm basically doing is, I think Trenton would do a lot of experiments, especially if he gets to live through the war. Because we have exactly 3 endgame years before the war will actually end. The war will end in the year 2080. This is a prologue of the Mecha Reflex will kill you. LOL. Oh yeah. So actually in 2080, 3 years later, space colonies are successfully built and are launched from all areas of the planet Earth. And they begin using faster than light travel to colonize space. And then we will actually fast forward to about 80 years later. Unlike Battletech, Mekton tends to favor a lighter mechs. Yes, very true. The year 2151, where there will be a war between the Terran Republic and another type of faction that will actually form itself out of the ashes of this war. So this is a prologue or an origin story to a much larger story that I'm actually developing. For more information, you can actually... if you're on my Discord, you can totally check out the information I have going on here, because I am actually loading down my Discord and many of my channels. I've actually made a whole section of Mekton stuff because I am looking at running some campaigns. Campaign 1 is going to be with my online group. I have an online group of people that would like to actually play, and I'm going to run it for them. Campaign 2 is because my son, Tabletop Junkie Jr., has decided that he would like to try it out because he loves giant robots. His favorite is Pacific Rim. We actually all watched into Pacific Rim Black, I believe it is, or Into the Black. We did actually watch that together. He loves giant robots, anything with giant robots in it. That's his big thing. So he loves mechas. He did like, I haven't showed him Zoids yet. I did like Zoids when it was out, so yeah. Alright, for those who checked out my channel, if you missed the live stream, please catch the replay. If you like what you see here, please like and subscribe. I did have a link for, in the live chat for any tips that anyone would like to leave. I am trying to raise funds to put back into my channel, to actually, grow my channel out a bit more and to maybe add some additional features if I can. There is some things I've been kind of looking at. that do cost money. But I've been pouring my own job money into this, which is not actually, believe it or not, it's not that bad. I have a decent job. I have a fairly decent job, so I'm actually able to do that. My bills are fairly low. I'm fairly blessed. But I'm just trying to take it easy on the funds because tabletop games is an expensive field, especially if you get into as much as I am. They don't call me the junkie for nothing. So just trying to grow more and see what the people, see what my audience would like me to play a lot more. Jack, I actually met you through, I believe, posting something on Mekton Zeta, and it was a review. And I'm actually going to do a review probably tonight regarding another book that I've been actually reading. On Netflix, might I recommend Gundam Ironblood Orphans and Kuramakuro, both solid mecha series, but maybe too mature for TJ Jr. Well, the boy's almost 15, but we'll see. So Ironblood Orphans, I believe, is also on Crunchyroll, which I do have, so I definitely be catching some of that. All right, well, that's everything I have at this time. Thank you for all of you guys for tuning in, and remember to work hard, play hard, game hard, game on, everybody. You guys have a great and wonderful evening, and enjoy what's coming to you. Stay tuned.